We acknowledge and respect traditional custodians whose ancestral lands we are meeting upon here today. We acknowledge the deep feelings of attachment and relationships of Aboriginal peoples to country. We also pay respects to the cultural authority of Aboriginal people visiting or attending from other areas of South Australia and Australia present here. The way this webinar is structured is I'll start off by showing you some examples of some sways and how schools and corporate are using sway. It's finally caught up. And then the second bit of the webinar is very hands-on, so I'll be getting you to work through and we'll be creating a very simple sway ourselves. So, there we go with our tip for splitting our screens. Right, but I'm going to stop sharing my PowerPoint now and I'll move over to sharing my screen and we can get started. Right, so before we delve into sway, as I briefly mentioned, I'm going to show you some examples. These examples, most of them are linked to in the handout that you received by email, so you can go back and have a look at them later as well. I'll just mute everyone, but feel free to unmute if you've got a question. Okay, so the first example here is a Wakerville Primary School. So they use Sway for their newsletter. And you can see here, it's nicely formatted. Things are animated and come in. And this particular one down the bottom, I think, has got a nice example. My computer internet must be affected by the weather because all these should be pictures and they've disappeared. Hopefully this isn't a short webinar. Yeah, because I can't even show you that. I might just swap my internet source for a moment. So you're going to lose me for about 5 to 10 seconds while I switch over to my SIM card, because it looks like my home, I'm working from home and it looks like my home internet isn't coping today. So please bear with me. I'm going to disappear for about 10 seconds and then I should be back. Apologies, everyone. Let's try that. Can you just give me a thumbs up that you can still hear me now? Yep, perfect. Okay. There's that first one. And let's see if those pictures, those are still broken. Let's move to that way. So this one is an example from a high school, Banksia Park International High. And again, they've used the same template to go through. And you can see it looks nice. One nice thing about Sway is that if you've got people viewing it on a device that's got a smaller screen, say a smartphone, Sway is what we call responsive. So it should, in a moment, reformat it so that it's easier to read. So you can see that the text has now is the right size for that window that I've created on the screen. So that's one really nice thing. The feature I was going to show you in the previous one that had broken links is this, which is called a stack. So I'll just make this big again. But this is really useful if you've got a whole lot of pictures or if you're using it for a school newsletter and you've got a whole lot of community flyers at the end. So a stack is just takes up one photo's worth of space on the screen that you can click and go through those images. So it's quite nice in that if people want to, they can see them all, but if they don't have to scroll through a whole lot. Okay, so let's just minimize that one. So the next one I'm showing you is the back end. And this is a sway that I created for a staff PD. This one's a horizontal sway. So it's a little bit different in that you click to go through the slides, but you can see it's nice and bright, and you're able to embed things like YouTubes and quizzes and forms and all sorts of things. So it's quite nice. Right, so I was just about to show you the last example that I have, which is taken from Seaton High School. So they use Sway with all their students to create student portfolios, and I've just borrowed their setup to show you an example. So the reason why you might want to use Sway with students for portfolios, for example, is that a Sway can be shared with people outside of the department. So a student could create one of these and then share that with an employee, an employer, or their friends and family. So they set up a template and then they get the students to populate it with things like their goals. Right, so let's now go into Sway ourselves. So Sway is just an online app. It's not a desktop app, which means that you can't download it. You have to go in through a web browser. So what I'd love you to do at the moment is either open up Edge or Chrome or another browser on your machine. And if you go to www.office.com, then you get to the page where I'm at so that you can access Sway. And let's see now if I can get my reactions to work now that I've tried the third internet option. And then you might be able to give me a thumbs up once you know meeting options still aren't working. So if you could maybe raise your hands once you're in that page, or type in the chat. Thanks, Jackie. Then I know when we can move on. I've put the link in the chat as well, so if you're not sure, you can click on that. Thanks, Tanya. Give people another minute or so to join or to open the web browser. Okay, so once you're in www.office.com, this is where you can access all the apps that come with Microsoft 365. You'll see here you'll have recently edited or used documents, and down the side is where you access your apps. So you might see Sway appear here if you use it regularly. Otherwise, if you click on the apps, you can go in here, and again, Sway might appear here, but if it doesn't, you can click on all apps, and then you can see all your apps. Now I'm just going to change the resolution so that makes it a bit bigger for people. Hopefully that's a bit better. So Sway is this icon here, an S with a little picture next to it. And if we click on there, we get into the Sway homepage. So this is what hopefully you saw when you opened up Sway. So a whole lot of templates, and if you've looked at any Sways or you've created any Sways recently, they'll appear here. But what we do want to do is click on the All Sways button, because that brings us into a different interface and gives us some more information. So let me just bring back up my template so I don't get sidetracked. Now, before we do go creating, we'll just show you these couple of menus here. So with Sways, you get some analytics. So if I click on the analytics, I can see that these are all the Sways that I'm an owner of, and I can get some information about how many people viewed that sway. So this first one, I can see 10 people viewed it. They spent 4 minutes reading it, average. 82% have read the whole thing, so 8 people. And you can see here some more data. So 4 people read it really quickly, but must have skimmed. 2 must have gone right down to the end, and 6 read it in depth. You can see here, this one here, this is a sway that's embedded on Eddy, so it does get quite a lot of traffic. It's about Minecraft, which is a popular topic. So I can see that there's been 5,964 views. But if you look here, only 293 people read it in depth and 4,848 people glanced at it. So I can get some really nice analytics and data around how my sway is being viewed. So that's really handy if you are using Sway for a newsletter, because you can see whether people are reading it. You can't tell who's read it, but you can tell that people have been looking at it. Okay, so let's go back into that one. So in this section, I've got some options up here. We normally say create a new one if you're creating something from scratch. And I'll just check. Yep, it's not in here, so I'm deviating a little bit, but I will show you the start from a topic one, because this one I really like as a teacher, because this is one that I can use with my students. So feel free to do this with me. So if you're in this screen, and if you didn't see how to get to this screen, I will go back for a moment. So if you're on this screen, to get to that second screen, it's the all sways down the bottom right hand side of the screen. Okay, so we're in here and I'm going to click on start from a topic. Now this will give you the bare bones, so like a structure for creating kind of an information report. So has anyone got a topic that they've started with their students in week 1 that we could type in? Feel free to type in chat or come off mute if you've got a topic that comes to hand. Jackie, that one might be a bit tricky, but we put it in. So it's kind of more geared towards information reports rather than I don't know if yeah, Scamp, and I don't even know what Scamp is. So anyway, we try values and expectations, and if that gives us nothing, we try Scamp, which I don't know anything about. So so it's expected value. Yeah, so it's not giving us a good thing for values and expectations. So school camp, I don't know that that's going to work either, but we try that one. No, that's not going to work either. I'm just going to do fish or floods. Let's do floods. Okay. Let's try a flood and create an outline. So it's not going to give you specific things. It's more a general topic, but you can see now that we've picked something that is more general, it's put in a photo of a flood, and then it's given some information in here. So you can see here it's taken this information from Wikipedia, and it doesn't let you copy and paste that. It wants you to have a read of it and then summarize it. So a flood makes dry land wet, for example. So that forces the student not to be copy and pasting, but to be reading and re-summarizing. So here again, it's given us some information. Yeah, so it takes the information from Wikipedia, which isn't fantastic, but it does give people a bit of a structure. You can see it's got some headings in there automatically. If I click on play, you can see it already looks quite nice. As a student, I don't have to worry about spending hours on making something look pretty. I've got the structure and the bare bones there for me to have a look at and start adding things. It also automatically puts in those references for me, so that's quite nice. So you can see it's taken information from those two places. So that there, let's go back, was what happens if I do a sway from a topic. However, if you're not using it for an information report, the best thing to do is click on this Create New. So if you want to click on Create New now, and then that gives us a whole blank sway that we can manipulate and change to our liking. So first of all, this is going to be our title. So I like to just make a sway up about myself because that's something that we all know about. So let's give my title Me, or All About Me. And then you guys can think about yourselves and not have to worry about thinking about other things. So in a title, we've got a background image that we can add. You don't have to, but that's quite nice. So I'll click on there. And I can upload an image from my device, or I can do a search. So I might put in here, what do I like? Let's put in fish. So probably if I was doing about me, I might upload a picture of myself. Or in this case, I'm just adding something that I like. I like fish. Oh, swimming would have been a good one, Leanne. Right. Okay, so I've got my first card. You can see as well, I can change that font. So emphasis is making it bold, accent is making it italics. Right, so that's my first thing. And if I click on play, you can see that's what it looks like already. So I'll click back into edit because I want to add some more information. So if I click on that plus, then I get a whole lot of suggestions and also some groups I can choose from. So let's put in a heading. So here I might put in my family. And again, if I want to, I can put an image, but this case, I'm just going to leave it as a heading. And then I'm going to do another card. So let's press the plus, and this time I'm going to put in some text. So here I might just write a little bit about my family. So in my family, there are 4 people. Me, my husband, my oldest son, my youngest son. Okay, and then that's good. So I've added some text. So now I'm going to do another plus, and then here I might add an image. So I'll click on image, and then here I might put in family because I don't want to upload my own picture. But let's see what we've got in here. Is there a family of 4 in there somewhere? Okay, let's just add that one. And that's going to be a picture. Now, when you've got pictures, you've got some other options. So at the moment, that's a small picture. If I want to make it medium or big, I can click on those. And if I want to choose a focus point, I can click here. So at the moment, this is what this picture is going to look like if I view it on a screen or if I view it on a mobile. I don't want those heads chopped off, so I might click that button here, and now it's going to appear like that, and then it's going to appear like that on a mobile device. So just be wary, Sway, if you don't go into that focus point and tick that entire image, Sway might cut some of your image off. So I've got there, I might want to add a caption, so my family. I could add some text in here as well. So I can, yeah, add some things. Okay, so now we've got a few things in here. Let's press the play button again and have a look. So I've got my title, I've got my first heading, got my text, and then I've got that image. Okay, it doesn't look that great, but I can see it's coming along. So I'm going to go back to edit, and I'm going to add some more things. So let's add another title, or let's go to text this time. So under text, I've got the heading one that I used when I wrote my family. But if you want to do like a subheading, I might choose heading 2. So here I might put in about my family. So it's still my family, but it's some extra information. And then a text box. And then let's put in again some text and just put my family likes. And then let's put in some numbers. Going for walks, 2 swimming, 3 chickens. Okay, right, that's good. So now I'm going to add some media. So I'm going to click on the media just to show you what you can add. You can add an image, you can add a video. So this is quite good if you're a school that has recorded a video, but you don't have YouTube, for example, and you want to share that video with your parents, you can embed it in a Sway and then send the link out to parents. So that's quite nice. There is a size limit on the size of the video. I can't remember offhand, but there is a size limit, so you can't embed like a 2-hour-long video, but you can definitely embed some short videos. Audio, so if you've got a recording of a kid reading a book or your class singing, you could embed that. And then this embed is for if you want to embed something that appears on a website. So this is a form, for example, if you want to embed a form in a Sway, or it might be a YouTube clip. So I'll go into that a little bit later, but for now, we just insert, we've already done an image. So we might go instead to group, and now we're going to insert something called a stack. So in one of the Sways I showed you, I think it was the Banksia Park one, there was a whole lot of images on top of each other, and I could just click on them to go through. So this is what a stack is. So I can go add content, and I could either add some text if I want text cards going through, or add some images. So I'm just going to click on image, and above it I said I like going for walks. So let's put in walks or walking. See what comes up there. Okay, let's just pick that one. Then I'm going to add another image, and I said swimming. Swimming. Oh, I want swimming at the beach, so let's try beach instead. All right, that one looks all right. And let's add a third image, which is chickens. Don't want the type you eat, I want the type that you have as a pet. Okay, so that's my stack. And again, let's click on the play to see what this is like. So I've got my title, my first thing, then that's my subheading there about my family, and that's my stack. So I can click on them and go through those 3 pictures. Okay, let's go back to edit because I think this looks disastrous how it is, but I have added some of those things. So in my training summary, I've got inserting a table, embedding a form, and playing your sway. But I'm going to leave those for a moment. We will come back to those because I want to move on to the design because I can't stand how this looks at the moment. So in Sway up the top left here, you've got the storyline, which is where we've been working at the moment, and that's where you add the content. And then you've got the design tab. So let's click on the design. And this is where you can go through and change the look and feel of your sway. So it looks at the moment the same as play, but I've got over here on the far right an icon called styles. So if I click on that, I get some options. So at the moment, the sway just decided to choose a horizontal layout. But if I wanted to, and this works better for a mobile phone, for example, I might choose vertical. And now you can see my sway, it still looks awful, but it's going vertical instead of the horizontal, which it was going before. If I want it to have more of a PowerPoint kind of feel as well, I can have it as slides. But let's choose vertical. Now, this is the bit I really want to change because I hate this at the moment. So under here, you can choose a theme for your sway. So if I click on that one, let's see. Yeah, so that looks better already. If I click the remix, Sway will just give me something that it thinks looks all right. Yeah, that's not too bad. So you can play around. Now, you've got the undo button here as well. So make sure if you don't like something and you liked something before, you click the undo to get back to it. Because Sway's online, it automatically saves. So the last thing you do will be what is saved. Unless your internet drops out like mine has been, and then you're in trouble. Okay, so that's not too bad. And I think I'll leave it like that for the moment. So remember, I'm in the design. I do want to add a few more bits, and then we come back and we do a bit more customization of the design. So let's go back into the storyline and we do those last couple of things around inserting a table, embedding a video in a form, and embedding a video in a form, and then we do a little bit more in the design. So top left again, if we click on storyline, oh dear, someone's written in that they can't, sorry. So if you can't locate any images, Leanne, it might be that it's blocked at your site, in which case you'll need to do the download and upload. My whole screen is a mess. I'm only seeing half your screen, Abigail. Kelly, so it might be that you might need to do the spotlight function in Teams. So if you if you click on people, and then if you find my name and hover over it and right click on the 3 dots, you can click on spotlight. And then that might mean that you can see my whole screen. Otherwise, it might just be a case of waiting and seeing the recording. Sorry, Kelly. Okay, so back in here, we want to add, embed something first or insert a table first. So let's go right down to the bottom of our sway and click on that plus. And this time we're going to click on upload. Now in Sway, you can't full screen. Okay. Okay, thanks, Jackie. Okay, so in Sway, I can't actually create a table. I have to insert it from a Word document. So actually, I'll cancel that and I'm going to open up Word. So let me just open up a new Word document. And that will give you time, hopefully, to open up a Word document as well. So I've got my Word document here. And it's just a blank one at the moment. And in Word, I'm going to create my table. So I'm going to go to Insert and Table. And I'm going to just put in a table of 6. Now, if I want my table to look a bit pretty, I might go into the table design and change it a bit so it looks a little bit nicer. And then in here, I'm going to put thing. And in here, I'm going to put my favorites. So thing might be food. Favorite might be pizza. Thing might be color. Favorite might be green. I'm going to press tab to get a new line and I'll enter one more thing. So thing might be season. And favorite might be summer. Okay, so I've got my table in there. I'm going to just save this. So I don't need anything else. I just want my table in there. I'm going to go File, Save As. And I'm just, in this case, I'm just going to save it onto my PC on my desktop. But you can save it wherever you need to. And I'm going to save it as table. And then now I'll close that down. Back in my Sway this time, I'm going to press the plus. I'll just wait for a moment just to double check whether, or just to give people a little bit of time because I might have been a little bit quicker at doing that. Actually, if you haven't been able to do that, I might, if I can find where it's saved, I'll just drop the link for that table that I created into the chat so you can use my table, maybe. No, it won't let me do that either. Let's try. No, it won't. Okay, hopefully that's given people enough time to do that. So I'm in Sway. I'm going to press the plus. This time I'm going to choose upload. So if it's not in your suggested, if you go to media, you can do upload from there. And I'm going to choose that Word document. So I'm just going to navigate to where that was saved. And here's that document there, table. And then I'm going to click on open. And then Sway will take that Word document with the table and turn it into an image. Now, because I want my whole table to show, I am going to just go into the focus point one again and make sure I've got that entire document ticked. so that my table comes out as a whole thing. Okay, so that's my table. I can rename this if I want. So my favorite things. And now if I go to play, let's see what that looks like. All about me, my family. There's my stack. And there's my table in there. Excellent. So hopefully we're able to do that. Can you give me a thumbs up if you're on camera, or just type in the chat yes if you've managed to do that. Thank you, those on camera. Excellent. Please come off mic and just let me know if I'm moving too fast as well. But it looks like most people are going okay. Fingers crossed. And you can't even see me because I've turned my camera off. Okay. So now we've done that, the next thing that we're going to embed or insert is a video or a form, and both of these are using that embed code that I mentioned briefly. So right down the bottom again, we're going to click on the plus, and this time we're going to the media option and we're going to click on the embed. Now embed is asking for an iframe code. So how we can get that is, for example, if I'm in YouTube, let's just go to a video and something that's short. Right, let's click on that one. So if I've got a YouTube, for example, and I want to embed this, in YouTube, down the bottom of the videos, you've got an option to share. And when I click on that, I've got the normal link, which is what I would probably copy normally. But along the top, I've got some other options. So if I wanted to share this directly to Facebook, for example, I could click there. But what I want in our case, because I want to embed this into my Sway, is I want to click on the embed. And then that gives me this iframe code. Now, I want to copy it all. So I just click on copy. And then I can pop that in the chat in case you haven't got up to, you haven't got a YouTube. Then I'm going to go back into my Sway. And oops, oh dear. Back into my Sway. Click on the paste your embed code, not on the link to SoundCloud, and then Control V to paste it in. And then that will embed my video in there. So let's click on play again, and that's now found that video and embedded it. Now, I mentioned as well, or in the training summary, it mentions about embedding a form. So forms are really handy. So forms can be shared with outside of the department, as well as Sway being shared outside of the department. And you might want to embed a form, for example, in a Sway if you're asking for feedback, or if it's a newsletter and you want parents to attend something or let you know if they're attending, you might want to embed a form. So embedding a form is the same as we've just done for embedding a video. I'll quickly go back, but again, you don't have to do this, just remember it's possible. And I'm just going to go into forms, and then I think I've probably just got an example one here. And in forms, again, if you go collect responses, you've got that embed symbol. So just have a look out for websites that have that embed symbol, and then I can copy that, go back into my Sway, I'm going to click on the plus, go to media, go to embed, click there, paste it in, and then I'll have my form embedded as well. So that's really handy. So any website that gives you or shows you that little symbol there normally allows you to copy and embed code. So Google Maps as well, you can embed in a way. If you're into things like ThingLink or I think even Kahoots you can embed. So anything with that little two angle brackets and the line allows you to embed. So let's just click on play and we'll see what that looks like now. So I've got my fish. That's all looking good. There's my video and there's my form. Okay, now my form is quite small. It might be hard for people to read. So that's when I'm going to go back into my edit. And in here, you see I've got the smallest option. So that's where I might make it the biggest option or make it the original size. So let's click original size and then let's go back into play and see what that looks like now. Okay, it's still a bit small, so let's try the big one and press play again. Yeah, that's much better. Okay, so you do have to do a little bit of playing around in Sway with those options to make sure it's nice. Like I might want that stack of images to be a bit bigger as well. Okay, back into edit. I think that was all we were doing in the storyline section. So I'm going to go back into the design section. I talked about the layout. Oh, let's go back in first. So I talked about the layout and I talked about picking these and the remix. In fact, let's do another remix to see if I get something that's nicer. No, I don't like that. Let's go back to vertical and do another remix. I want it to be horizontal for some reason. Okay, so that one's all right. However, I might want to play around with the color schemes. So if I want this, for example, you can click on there and you can see my headings have changed. So another heading has changed. If I click on this one, for example, it's going to give me a different font again. It's going to give me a different background. And I might have to play around with the sizing again. So I've got a whole lot of pre-built options in there. And let's have a look at this one. No. Yeah, okay, let's leave it at that. Now, if I like that kind of color scheme, I might want to change the font, for example, because I don't like that font with the lines. So up the top here, I can click on Customize. And that's when I can do a little bit of changing. So I can change my font. So maybe I want to go for this one. Yeah, that's not too bad. I can change my text size. So I can make things large or small. So you can see my headings changed. So let's keep it at large. And then I can also change my color. So if you've uploaded some images, you see all my images have appeared there. So if I click on this fish, for example, it then changes my color scheme down here. So I might pick, let's pick one, for example. And so it kind of fits a bit more in with my theme. Now, if you, for example, are doing one for your school and you want to use your school colors, if you click on that custom tab, then you can enter something called a hex key or an RGB. So these are computer language for colours. So if you know what your school ones are, you can type them in. If you just go to, I think it's Colour Picker, you put something like that in, it will give you a hex code. So here, this particular one, the first one that came up with Colour Picker, if I hover over, I can upload a picture, so use your image, and then you can see here, it's given me the hex code. So if I wanted it to be there, I just copy that. And then I can go back to my sway and paste in that so that I've got that for my color inspiration instead. And then you can see it's given me some different options. You can only have one of those. So if you've got a school emblem, for example, that has two colors in it, because that's quite often what schools do, what I suggest is you upload the school emblem as an image down the bottom. It will then appear in this color inspiration bit. You can click on it and then it should come up as a color palette option for you to pick from. And then you can delete the photo after you've done that. So that's an option if you've got two, but if you've just got one, find the hex with something like that color picker, and then that will give you some options to choose from to make it look nice. Okay, so we've mucked around a little bit with the design. So now what we're going to do is look at how we share our sway. So we've not got much time left, but we've got enough time for doing that. So I'm going to go back into Storyline. And I've got this share option here. So if I click on there, similar to forms, if you've used forms, I've got some options up the top. So if it's only going to people in your department, so if it's a sway for your staff meeting or something like that, then choose the middle option, which is the default option. If you want it to be shared with anyone, so that might be families, community, you're advertising an event at your school, for example, then choose that bottom option, which is anyone with a link. You can just get it as a code. So if I click copy there, it will just be a URL. I can get a visual link. So I can copy that if I want to add it to my social page for my school, for example, or my class dojo. Let's go back into share. I can share directly if I've got them not blocked at my school to Facebook, etc. there. If it's something that's sensitive, so if I've got information that I want to share with parents, but it's about their particular kid, for example, I might want to put a password on there. So if I click on there, I can create a password, and then for the person to open up the sway, they need to enter the password. So that does give you a little bit of protection if you're wanting to share with anybody, but you want to limit who can see that by giving it a password. Of course, families can share a password as well, but it's one extra layer. So then the last thing is these three dots here, and this gives you a couple more options as well. So if you click duplicate this sway, that's going to give you a copy of the sway. So that, for example, if you are doing a newsletter, you've spent some time making the design look really nice, you've got your color schemes all okay, you might want to duplicate this sway, give it a new name, version 2. And then you can muck around and change the duplicated one and keep your original each time. Let's go to my space. And so now you can see I've got the version 2 and the all about me in here. Now let's go back into the all about me one. If I click up here as well, I've got save as a template. Now save as a template only saves in my account, so I can't share a template with other people in my school. But you could save it as a template as well. So now I've got those two there, and then I've got my template in here that I can click on, and then this is a new sway that's been opened up. And when I click on start editing this sway, I've got it here. And if I change that to version 3, if I go back to sway, I've got my original one, my copy, and then my version 3, and my templates remain the same. So that's another way you could set up your newsletter and do start from a template, knowing that the template sits just in one person's account. Okay, sorry we've gone a little bit over because of my internet issues, but hopefully you're all right. Hang on a tiny bit longer. There's a couple more options in here. Print gives you a printed version. It doesn't look that great. So if you are wanting to send a printed version out, it's probably nicer if you format it as a printed version than printing just off your sway. Export again is just exporting it as a Word or a PDF. So it's like printing, and again, it won't look that nice. But it is possible. And then that's probably it for this session. So I'll just finish off by showing you some resources that you can access if you want to know more about Sway. So first of all, there's the Microsoft Educator Center. So I'll just put that link in the chat. And this, if you've had a look before, there's a whole lot of resources around Sway as well on the Educator Center. So if you go to the Educator Center, Professional Development, browse all. And now my other internet's going to give up on me, I think. But if you go in there and click and type in Sway, then you should be able to. Oh, there's one module in there. But that does give you some extra places to go. You know our YouTube channel? So I'll just go to that one. We do have a playlist on Sway as well under Microsoft. And then let's go back to home under Microsoft. So we do have a playlist on Sway. Let's try again. So there's a whole lot of tutorials there. There's how to change your color scheme, how to import PDFs, which I didn't go into, how to insert translated audio. There's a whole lot of different things. If you're using an iPad to create a Sway, embedding links to YouTube, etc. So there's a whole lot there. The first one that appears in that playlist is basically what I've been through today. It takes you through step by step. what's in there. So let's just copy. Hopefully this is the right link, but I will send it out when I send my follow-up email as well. And I think that's about it. So please feel free to come off mute and ask questions if you'd like. Thank you all of those people that attended live and put up with my bad internet connection. Hopefully you got something out of it.